Welcome, everybody, to Fantasy NBA. Today, we did it. We made it to the first day of the seasons. With me here is FSWA Hall of Famer Steve, Dr. A. Alexander. Steve, how you doing?
Well, after I barely recovered from you drafting Matas Buzelis right out from under me in yesterday's Sports Ethos Invitational Draft,
Presented by
I
FanDuel.
finally got over that, and then Straub took Chris Boucher, and that was another dagger to my back. We woke up today to some news that is also sad, but I'm okay. I'm all right.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what you're more sad about. I thought about the ethics of fantasy gaming after I hit the button to draft Matas Buzelis. And I thought, okay, if somebody is Doc's guy and we're in an invitational league, is it unethical to take his guy when you know it's his guy and you know it's going to cause pain and suffering?
Well, you took him early. You didn't just take him. You took him early.
It was the perfect pick for my team. And I thought, I think the ethics are in a good place here. I'm going to take him anyway.
What I liked about that is I was sitting here last night, and on Twitter, something popped up that showed me and Rick talking about that draft. And I was like, I'm going to watch it. And I watched it again. And Rick's like, Doc, tell me what you think about this and this and this and this. And I got ready to do it. And I go, what did Bruski just do? Like, what was that? I didn't even consider answering his question. Like, everything changed. And I just went straight to Matas Buzelis and whining and crying.
Yeah, I had flipped on the show right as I was like, first I was like, I gotta take Buzelis, and then I was like, oh my god, I gotta get the show on because I gotta hear Doc's response to when this happens. And then I hit the button, and Rick started talking, and he's telling you about it, and I'm texting you, and all of the things happened at once. It was brilliant stuff, and thanks to everybody who participated in the Sports Ethos Invitational. There's a good cause. The winner gets a gift to go to charity. He also gets a prize themselves, and it's a great competition and a lot of fun. As far as the show itself, so we're going to say happy trails to the great Rick Kamla. That's some news here at the front end of the show.
That was the other sad news I was talking about.
Yeah, a little sad news, but we love Rick. He is one of the founders of fantasy basketball. He is responsible in many ways for this great industry growing the way that it has, and we wish him very well as he pursues other endeavors. And as far as the show format here, we're going not a lot of changes here Monday through Friday. We're going to be basically trying to get you guys the best fantasy information that you guys can have and try to give it to you in the way that makes it easiest for you guys to consume it, and quick and actionable stuff so you guys can just get in there and make your moves. Hopefully we will have time to yap. That's always a goal. I know you love some yapping. I love some yapping myself, but we have a lot of cool plans. I think we're going to be able to serve all sorts of different goals here in this new and changing content space where, attention spans are like 3 seconds long nowadays. And so we'll do a little bit for everybody on that. We'll have a Saturday show where we look at the week ahead. We're going to actually have box score breakdown returning, the box score breakdown at night. Really excited about that. So we'll be able to recap these games and get you guys some actionable information at the end of the night, right before you go to bed. You just make your moves. You can look at your wife, your partner, and say, yeah, I'm doing it again. I'm looking at my phone again. What else, Doc?
Well, as far as Rick goes, Don Corleone called and made him an offer he could not refuse. Very sad day for me personally. Rick and I, as everybody probably knows, have rolled together for probably 25 years, 30 years. First time we ever officially had a permanent working relationship was here. And so that was fun, I think, for both of us. I'm going to miss it. I think we're going to miss him. He's probably going to miss us and whatever. But we're moving forward.
Show, actually, we'll probably have him back a couple times.
We are moving forward, and we are going to bring the content. But Rick should be in the Hall of Fame along with me, and Brew, you should probably be in there too. But he should have got in before I did, and the fact that I got in there and he has not yet doesn't sit all that well with me. So anyway, gonna miss him.
Yeah, I echo those points. I do think he should be in the Hall of Fame. Ordering, I'm not so concerned with that. But he's actually made me a better show host, and just every single second that I've worked with him, I loved every single second of it, and can't wait to have him back on the show and check in with him from time to time. And best of luck to him in his next ventures, which I am sure will be ultra successful. And with that, we move on. We're going to be looking at the 2 games tonight. And kind of just to reset, I have been in the foxhole in high stakes drafts, and it's been really cool this year. Like really freaking cool. Like I cannot remember drafting teams this balanced and this powerful. And I'm just excited to get the season starting, just to see if all that proof of concept can land on the standings.
So were you having those drafts where you get done and you're like, wow, I got everybody I wanted?
I was having drafts where I was shocked at getting 4 projected top 20 plays in my first 4 picks. I was having drafts where I was shocked I was getting 12 top 75 plays out of 12 picks, or 16 picks inside of the top 75. It hasn't always happened like that. Like in say the last 5 years, even in the most successful years, I don't think I've seen anything like this. And I don't even know why. I have no clue. I don't have a read on it. Did the competition change? Obviously everybody leaves their drafts and they think their team is the best and their numbers are the best. And if you have projections guiding this stuff, your projections are going to show you at the end of the draft that you had the best draft. And then it's all got to pan out. But even within all of that, the numbers are so crazy. I finally had a draft last night in high stakes where everybody was super competitive, and I didn't have that happen. And I was like, what do I do? I don't know. It's not total domination, but that's kind of how everybody feels it during draft day. You just feel super excited and confident in your team. Hopefully, there are still drafts going on, so if you get a chance, check out the Bruski 150, the draft guide, and honestly, the data and the content in there has got at least a couple weeks of shelf life. So if you haven't gotten in there, also check out the tools. We'll talk about that more towards the end of the show. Let's get into some of this action though here. So 2 games tonight, really cool games. Houston at OKC is a really interesting opening night game. I mean, some of these opening night games aren't interesting. It'll be like kind of like a big market team and a big market team that aren't that compelling, and it's not super excited. This one, the Thunder are 5.5-point favorites, and they get a Houston team that's starting all Giants. And maybe that's where we start there. When the news that the Rockets were going to start all extraordinarily tall people hit, what was your very first thought? Was it a fantasy-based thought? Were you just like, what the hell is the world coming to? How did that land with you?
Well, let's see how it works. Let's see it on the floor, and let's see what it looks like. Because it's so funny, because a couple of years ago, big men had been sort of like you didn't need a big center to win, and now like all these teams are just running as many bigs as they can get out there. And they, a lot of them are hitting threes, maybe not all of them, but a lot of them. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, this Rockets Thunder to open up the season, followed up by Warriors Lakers, like what a time to be alive. I just wish it wasn't on NBC. I wish I didn't have to watch stupid NBC. I'm not paying for Peacock. I'll guarantee you that. But yeah, I'm on the Thunder at -5.5 here. Until the Thunder prove me wrong, I'm rolling with them in the West again.
That's a really interesting bet. I don't know. Do we have a confirmation that Jalen Williams is out for this game?
And that is on FanDuel. Where I've got the Thunder -5.5. Jalen Williams, I don't think there is any chance he plays. I think I don't know if he's officially been ruled out, but there's no way he's playing.
Yeah, and the line suggests that. We've got other odds that we'll be kind of running through here as well, but no Jalen Williams, and what does this mean from a fantasy context? Like, how about Jalen Williams in drafts? If somebody's still got a draft that's going right now, would you have any pause drafting him in the second round?
He went in the third round of our invitational. I think he belongs in the third round because I don't know. I don't like the injury he has, and it just doesn't sit very well with me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. When the news came out, I started remembering. I actually looked up old Darren Williams articles from back in the day, and we've kind of had a little bit of a break, I think, from shooting wrist injuries. Where it's not just like it used to be, a shooting injury would hit, and then you just knew that was going to screw that player up, and don't fall for the idea that it's this small injury. So when I saw the news over the summer, I really looked deeply into it, and it seemed like it was actually a legit injury and that there was going to be some concern. And then they've slow played this. They've let him talk to the media about it and give the media the impression that it's not that big of a deal. But here we are on opening night, and it's not go time. That to me tells me it's something. It's not nothing. It's something. And as far as where to draft him, when he was dropping into the third round, I was fine drafting him there. I actually would be pretty happy to see him land there, knowing that if this thing is serious, that's all bets are off. But we haven't gotten an indication that it is serious yet. As much as there's concern, as much as I have concern, we haven't gotten the indication that it's serious. So it's just making him more affordable. And if he misses, say, 2 to 4 games, and that's it, I mean, that's like one bad week. You just kind of dust yourself off and move on. And then you've got a second round, possible first round potential asset in the third round. I think that's great. In the second round, when there's those other players that you can get, the kind of the top tier that are falling into the second round, that makes drafting Jalen Williams in the second round inadvisable because you have better options there. Okay, enough about him. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will pick up some extra reps tonight. Do you think he's the beneficiary, or are you looking at anywhere else in that rotation for, say, streamer action, or just who's going to be good tonight against the Rockets?
Yeah, I think Shai obviously is a good answer. I think Lou Dort has a chance to have a nice game here. They're going to want him on the floor for his defense, and then Aaron Wiggins and Alex Caruso, I think, also will see a little bit of a boost in minutes. I'm kind of intrigued by Caruso, like in a FanDuel lineup. Dort, Caruso, and Wiggins in a FanDuel lineup are super cheap options that you can build a lineup around. So I think as long as J-Dub is out, those guys and maybe a little Case and Walls will all get extra reps.
If J-Dub wasn't, I think there would be the kind of an era of a coronation. They're going to see the banners go up. It's going to be, emotional and all the things. And there's that letdown associated with teams in that spot. And the public kind of bets into them a little bit too much. But this is different. You've got a little bit of injured star theory going on here. You have one of your top guns is out. And Houston comes in foaming at the mouth, I think. You've got Alperen Şengün, who's kind of like at the peak of his powers right now and wanting to make an impact. You've got a team that's been decimated by the Fred VanVleet injury, and now they're doing this different thing that it's going to be fascinating to watch. I actually like it against a bigger Thunder team that plays Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren together quite a bit, and they obviously have athletes all over the lineup. So I'm thinking Houston comes in and really, really wants this thing. And so from a motivational standpoint, I think OKC will also want this thing. And so I think we're going to get a good game.
I really like the angle of Kevin Durant versus his old team on his new team in this game. KD's over-under at FanDuel is 23.5. Dude, I'm all over that. I think he's gonna blow that away. So that's at FanDuel, you can bet KD over 23.5. I'm on that. I just think this is such a great matchup because we saw last year, even when OKC didn't have their stars, they were still blowing people out of the gym. They were like the Celtics and Kristaps Porzingis. Like, okay, he's playing tonight, great. He's not playing tonight, we don't care. We're still going to run you out of the gym. And I feel like that's how OKC has been. But now we've got a fired up Houston team coming in that's playing Ime Udoka defense with a new shiny toy to play with in Kevin Durant, even though he's a little rusty. He's getting a little gray around the gills, but he's Kevin Durant and all those young kids and Amen Thompson, man. I mean, I don't know how, if you're a basketball fan, you cannot watch this game.
Well, and there's a lot of fantasy angles. There's just angles for days with this game. Like going back to the J-Dub absence, like you do have Dort and you have Caruso, who are big game players who have a ton of experience in those situations. And they're generally who you think OKC is going to want to throw out there when all the when everything's on the line. So that makes me think that your two plays are really good. Now, opposite that, you have Aaron Wiggins. Aaron Wiggins is this really unique player that usually only good enough for deep leagues. What I wonder is this year, does Aaron Wiggins actually step up into being a standard league asset and do it on a consistent basis as the swing guy that kind of plays whichever position is a guy taking a game off? Does he come in and really step into his abilities as a scorer and really as an overall player? It's an embarrassment of riches for these guys. So if you're looking for streamers, especially since they have a little bit of extra action here early on this week, Aaron Wiggins is on the radar. Cason Wallace is a player that a lot of people like. I don't think it's like a surprise that people like Cason Wallace. I think one site actually had him like ranked 30 or something at the start of the like early summer, and people got up in got their their britches in a bunch with that. But like I look at Cason Wallace and I think this is one of the next really good players in the league. Defensively, he is great. He just gets it, gets all over the place. And then offensively, he's no slouch. And he gives you great field goal percentage for his position. And the value is certainly there. And I'm just curious, is this the beginning of him kind of shooting off like a cannon and getting things started? You got Chet Holmgren. What's the next step for Chet? Especially with J-Dub out, I think you're going to see a lot more Chet than you're accustomed to seeing. And kind of on down the line there. And then with Houston, there's a lot of this big lineup that signals sort of a value shift in the sense that Reed Shepherd's no longer in the starting lineup. That cools the market there on him. What's Amen Thompson going to look like tonight against a really good Oklahoma City Thunder team? Şengün has to bang with Hartenstein, who bangs with Nikola Jokic and is one of the better players in the league, defending a big who's shifty with a lot of up fakes and a lot of stuff like that. So it's a great matchup on paper. On the Houston side, is there anything from a fantasy perspective that you're really trying to dive into and watch for this game?
You keep hinting at this new lineup. Is it Steven Adams that is in there? Is that what's happening?
Honestly, I forget. No, I think it is Adams. And then so Adams,
Şengün, Jabari Smith,
Parker,
Durant.
I keep calling him Parker. It's hilarious. Shout out to the follower that keeps calling me on that. One day, a long time ago, when Jabari Smith was coming into the league, I made the mistake of, in my mind, calling him Jabari Parker. 7 years later, or whatever the how many years he's been in the league, I'm just so screwed by that, and I can't get over it.
Well, you mentioned Darren Williams earlier of Utah, New Jersey fame, and he spelled his name Deron, and he was called Duran so much, but it was Darren.
And then it just sticks with you, and then you're on air and you can't just figure it out.
But it's Adam, Şengün, Jabari, and KD. Those are the four tall people, right?
And Amen.
And then Amen, who's also tall. So,
yeah, I think the average height is like 6'10" or something. And
how buzzkilled are you on Reed Shepherd? Because it really doesn't bother me that much.
They don't have. Actually, the interesting piece in Houston, and he's been following in drafts, is Tari Eason. And yeah, we do got to get a pretty good sense that he's not going to be playing in back-to-backs. But what if you can manage that? Like, he's a top 50 guy when doing Tari Eason things. And yeah, he's not going to play in a back-to-back, but we've dealt with players like that in the past, and he can't get more minutes. The whole point of your question about Reed, if Tari Eason can't get more minutes and they're kind of worried about his medical, this team is stressed for minutes right now. They need all of their guys on the floor from day one, and they don't really have an angle to add players throughout the season. So
True. One of my big takeaways from the drafts that I've done, the 9 or whatever, probably more like 12, is how early and how often Tari Eason was getting drafted. Like,
he was getting drafted early.
I love Tari Eason as much as the next guy. I think he's got a fantasy skill set. I may be completely wrong here, but I wasn't even looking at Tari Eason every time he got drafted. There were so many players I felt were such more of a sure thing to happen, whereas I think Tari Eason's still a complete mystery.
Yeah, I had the opposite phenomena. He was not getting drafted until like 110 in roto high stakes drafts, and that made sense. I mean, he's not playing it back to backs. He's got injury history, but then you start, once that settles in, and you start to think, okay, well, who could kind of outperform their draft slot? Well, what if Tari Eason gets an average 3 games a week and is just out there getting you top 50 numbers, and that sort of pans out to be top 75, top 80, top 85. And you're looking at a 3-round jump on a guy that had the reputation of being a good fantasy play when on the floor. So that is, that's kind of the outlook there on Tari Eason. And Reed Shepherd will start off slow, and his draft stock has dipped a little bit, but I don't see his situation as changing appreciably as a result of this news. So I'm mostly interested just to see how tall people impact the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you're seeing this.
Houston has Capella too, and he's probably going to be out there a little bit on his big homecoming.
Yeah, well, it was a pretty funny comment that Ime Udoka made that they kind of like owned the too big look, and OKC actually won the NBA championship with a too big look. And some Oklahoma City reporters who've been on this show pointed that out, that there was a little bit of a dissonance there. But I'm just curious.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, you might have to make an update to that. But this too big thing is super interesting. I want to see how this looks against OKC, and just in general, like Dallas is doing the same thing, and they're not playing tonight, but I think when you can put size on the floor and it's functional and it doesn't have you're not exposed. And I think that what these teams are realizing is that if you can get away with the 2 bigs, the other team's not going to be able to make you pay. You get such a rebounding advantage. You win the possession game, and the math behind that starts to make a lot of sense. So we'll see that all play out this year. Let's shift it over to the second game, which is really spicy. Maybe because LeBron's out, is Golden State at Los Angeles. Golden State comes in with Jimmy Butler, sort of the revamped, crew with Jimmy Butler plus Al Horford. I think there's a little bit of an extra shine on this Golden State Warriors team as a result of that transaction. You've got the Los Angeles Lakers, Luka Ball, no LeBron. It feels like a little bit of a passing of the torch moment here. And I don't know, what are you watching out for in this game here tonight with Golden State and LA?
Well, I like the Lakers getting 2.5 at home, so I'm on that. I've got a lot of FanDuel from this game. I've got Luka in my lineup. I've got Austin Reeves, who is going to ball out without LeBron around. I kind of wanted to go Steph Curry instead of Luka, but I had to go Luka. Like, Steph's so much cheaper than Luka. You can build probably a better lineup than I built using Curry instead of Luka. So I may put in another team built around Curry, leaving Luka out. That will be a little more well-rounded and not have so many scrubs on it. I think that Luka has such a chip on his shoulder, and now he's going to be like, "Oh, really? We're underdogs at home in the opener," and I would not be surprised if Luka and company, whoever he's got with him. I know he's got Austin Reeves and DeAndre Ayton, but I would not be surprised if the Lakers come out and play really well and win the game. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised if the Warriors did either.
Yeah, I think that's my takeaway is looking at this matchup is I think you got two teams that do have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder for teams that don't typically care about October. It's nice. And, in terms of Golden State, I guess how do you sit with Golden State just in general heading out of draft season and into the regular season? What was it that you were watching for there?
Well, I'm not a Jimmy guy, and I was going Giddey instead of Curry, so I don't have much stock in Golden State. I might have Ayton in a place to do, but he doesn't play for Golden State. I don't have any Golden State stock.
The resident DeAndre, what was the final takeaway on Ayton in LA? There was moments where it felt like maybe he was not going to do anything at all, right? Like he was just a screener and just happy to be their guy. And then he had a couple big games. And
I think he's going to have his best year in LA.
So you are on board to some degree with the DeAndre Ayton revised product here.
I am. I think he's glad to be out of Phoenix and Portland, and he's happy to be in LA. Hopefully Luka and him have been working together. I would think if Ayton sucks this year, then I give up. The guy, as Rick would say, the guy just hates basketball. So yeah, the over under. I've got some props. I like in this game is Luka over 30.5 on FanDuel. It's a minus 110. I like Steph Curry over 26.5, minus 120. I feel like Curry and Jimmy Butler are on a mission, and Butler even said so yesterday. Like he had some juicy quotes about how they're going for it this year, and man, the West is going to be wild. But I like Curry over 26.5. I think he's going to hit a ton of threes, and he's going to score a bunch of points. And then Austin Reeves is probably the one I like best, 21.5 with no LeBron. Luka's going to score a ton, but he needs Austin Reeves too.
Yeah, those numbers are a little funny, to be honest. I don't know why they're so low. But that's the opening, salvo for the season. The odds makers are kind of throwing a little bit of darts. I think one of the things that we pride ourselves here at Sports Ethos with our premium product, especially in season, you'll notice we've been doing a ton of marketing about that. And these tools are basically taking B150 projections, which are meticulously, analyzed all summer long and then into the season and all these principles we've built throughout the years. You could just pick your props and just go to town. And I can't wait till I actually have the time to just do that maybe full time one season and just see what I can rack up because the numbers are soft. Like Reeves over 21.5. Like, what are we doing with that? Why would anybody bet the under on Reeves at 21.5? He's fully capable of hitting that number. It would just be kind of the most random thud of a night if he doesn't hit over 21.
Yeah, if he scores less than 21.5, he's probably going to shoot like 5 of 16 or something.
Yeah, it just doesn't add up, especially with what they need out of him. And it's sure, maybe we could talk about Golden State having some defenders that could theoretically slow him down, but it doesn't really work like that. And as far as Golden State goes, this motivation this season is a really interesting dynamic for them because they kind of all get the vibe, I think, that this is the last season that this band is going to be together. And maybe something comes through the pipeline with like a Giannis, LeBron, injection into this team next season. And who knows, maybe Steve Kerr is still around. But they're talking like it's this last run. And I think all of these guys realize how special that is, that you're going to have one last shot to really, really have a outside shot at a title. Unless they make those moves, in the off season for next year. So I think they're motivated. And I think Jimmy wants to get out there and kick some ass. And I kind of went big on Jimmy last year, got burnt. And then this year he was almost available for me in a lot of spots. And I did get Jimmy Butler in a couple spots. And I'm actually really happy that I got what I think is probably a better version of Jimmy Butler this season at a much cheaper price in these drafts, like 7th round Jimmy Butler. I don't think I got an 8th round Jimmy Butler. And I'm not sure if the 7th round is correct. I'm pretty sure that's correct.
I'm proud to say I have 0 shares of Jimmy Butler, and hopefully we can survive without such a phenomenal, incredible, just basketball player and human being. I mean, can my team survive without Jimmy Butler? I don't know.
Jimmy Butler fans
find out.
like Doc are going to have a great season watching Jimmy Butler. I think he will, like, if he's going to play over 70 games, like, this is the year. Like, I just think that all that, like, kind of diva, I'm not going to play, I'm going to protect my injuries. You know, I'm just going to kind of like do my own load management program, which I do believe was the case. You know, I think it's not
Jimmy
just
plan.
I think it's a lot of players. I mean, I think it's guys like Donovan Mitchell. I think there was a time in the league where the training staffs and the agents and the players and the front office all agreed that if you don't want to push your chips in the middle of the regular season, you can go on your own individual rest management program. And we saw that for a long time. And then I think maybe that trend will go the other direction because of data we've seen that supports, playing hard throughout the year. And I think Jimmy Butler wants to play hard this year. And Draymond Green, who a guy that might think about taking more time off, I think he will want to play a little bit more than he probably should this year. And they will kind of come into the playoffs with a full head of steam. It's going to be a fun game.
Well, and this whole LeBron thing, dude, is really jacking up the Lakers' plans. Like, if LeBron's playing, the Lakers have a chance to compete with these teams in the West with Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves. And LeBron's now like, I don't really know when I'm going to play. I'm going to sit back and evaluate, see what's going on, see how the team's looking. I think we've gone from LeBron is going to come out and just be LeBron and put his head down and do his job and then go to another team next year to, like Rick said the other day, is he even going to play a game in LA?
It's the fact that that's even being said is kind of an indictment of the situation. But that is the story here. It's shifting. Actually, I got a lot of LeBron in drafts. This has been a thing. Like, he falls so far that it becomes just, you got to take him. And the storyline that's sort of driving all of this is that LeBron James doesn't have the juice anymore. And it's really interesting what he and his, business operation are doing, trying to find and form other leagues and try to kind of like move out of this catbird seat in the NBA where they call all the shots and they kind of all the action in the NBA with free agents gets triggered based off of what they want at clutch. That power source just isn't there anymore. And now, the Lakers have more or less moved on, and LeBron's kind of at this point going to survey. And you're even seeing like Russell Westbrook took shots at LeBron, via a report the other day just about, being fake. And if you're fake, things fall apart eventually. And that fakeness might actually create whatever inertia that's going to shift LeBron out into the next phase of whatever he's going to do. And you're going to see Luka and Austin Reeves and DeAndre Ayton and that crew move forward. And maybe LeBron stays there all year and that will make them compelling. Or they turn the page and they look at life with Luka and start to build around that. And that's going to be great. You're going to see Jake LaRavia, who I watched a lot in Sacramento, who's a really good player. I thought that was
Andre predicted this. Predicted this.
And he predicts all sorts of stuff. That Andre Lamouche
called it. He's a bruised Lord and Savior, Jake LaRavia. Go ahead.
I'm just,
tell us, Brew.
Jake LaRavia is a very good basketball player. He can defend. He can play, connective basketball. He can score if you want him to score. I remember his days in Memphis when he'd play like 18 minutes and he would have a great stat line. He's friends with Austin Reeves.
I actually like Jake LaRavia.
Oh, you do you?
I do.
That's fun.
I do. And with LeBron not being there, dude, like Laravia, it may really be a thing. And you're like, Doc, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to tell you right now.
I'm telling you, there's right now in the B150 at the ends of 16 round drafts, I'm not able to put into the roster guys I have projected in the top 75. It's fun, folks. It is fun. And I think that we're having fun here at Sports Ethos. And if you just found our show, please subscribe to the Fantasy NBA Today podcast feed so you don't miss out on any episodes, and check us out over at sportsethos.com, where honestly, we have had so much fun, and sad to see Rick go because he's been a huge part of this fun here as well. But like, we're having so much fun throughout the entire organization. I was watching the guys in the NBA chat. They were doing the player battles the other day, and they were like assigning player battles throughout the organization. Everybody was kind of gleefully taking on an assignment. And, just whenever the vibes are good, like, it's just an amazing thing to be around. And here at Sports Ethos, whether it's that content operation here on the show, some of this stuff that we're building out with tools, the B150 stuff, competitively in fantasy leagues. Like, I can't wait to see how your picks pan out, Doc. Like the Modest Buzelis one.
Dude, it's all about Buzelis.
Dude, okay, so I watched one of the reasons I sniped him from you, and I did more preseason film work this year than I've ever done in my entire career, and that's thank you, Andre, thank you, Doc, thank you, Rick. Everybody holding down their area of the fort, and all the guys I just mentioned. Like, I'm watching Buzelis, and I was like, I told Andre, I was like, holy bleep him. Like, I just could not believe how much ground he covers on the floor. This was like 3 days ago. I'd seen another game prior to that, and he was kind of just like hidden off in the distance. He wasn't as highlighted in that game. And he just jumped off the page, man. Like, he's like a condor, but he's quick and he has great defensive instincts. And there was a couple times where the ball's getting kicked out to him at 3-point land, and he's slithering in, like doing snake dribbles and keeping the guy on his back. And he's just, I think there's so much there, and you've been balling out, taking him in the 5th round. And I love your draft strategy of just saying, F it, give me my guys and get out of my way and let convention just sort of fall to the side, because we get caught up in that so much. And there's been so many times, I think it was with Wemby in year 1 or what, every time you will do this where you're just like, you take the pick and like everybody goes, oh, that's too early.
Yeah.
And
Doc reaches for, like, that's how my guys started. Doc reaches for his guys. Look out. Doc will do some. I remember we used to do live drafts at NBC, and it would be like on TV or on the internet. Everybody, like, that thing was getting like 60,000 views. The lady's like, oh, we never know what Crazy's gonna do here. Doc pick, she's like in like dogging me, like, that's it, man. I'm picking my guys. You all kiss my ass and whatever. I don't care.
It's the toughest play in fantasy sports. It's the guy that's everybody's talking about, and you don't know how high they're going to finish. And the ADP's just pushing it up and pushing it up and pushing it up. And then you have to decide, like, I got to get ahead of that. And then I also need to get profit margin out of it, and not, it's one thing to get the player, but then they kind of went too early, and that's obviously not what we're trying to do here. It's the toughest play in fantasy, and you have to have a lot of nads and conviction to pull it off. So I'm excited to watch your Buzelis play. As far as that Golden State Los Angeles game, I don't think I have any other fantasy angles that I'm watching for. I know Jared Vanderbilt starting is probably something that could happen. With regard to Laravia's stuff, I'm not worried about that over the long term. I just think Laravia is a great fit for this squad, and he's going to keep doing it. And, there was like 20 Laravias sitting at the ends of drafts. It was great. What else do we got here? Any other big fantasy thoughts?
At the end of drafts, I was taking Boucher.
That's another one. It was I got a couple Bouchers, I think, and there's a lot of players this season whose the seasons are setting up so well for them. And when they were in Toronto, he got to get his little revenge action in the preseason, but he has a completely defined role that they want him to be out there and doing, and there's nothing stopping him. And he's kind of at his peak as an NBA player too. He's maintained a lot of his athleticism, and now instead of just running up the court and doing Chris Boucher stuff and getting benched for it, he's playing somewhat sound basketball. You know, it's good to see, and he had a great end of season last year, and he's going to be at minimum a late round value this year on the floor. So I think that's great. What else from draft season?
Rue, I finally found what I've been looking for while we were talking about Buzelis. So I was kind of all the way out on Buzelis in like June or July, maybe even August. And somebody was on the show with us, and they were like, Buzelis is going to start and get 30 minutes a game this year. And I looked at his per 36, and I was like, hello. If that happens, that's a gamble I'm willing to take about him getting 30 minutes, because I know if he gets 30 minutes, he's going to ball out. And Pat Williams sucks. We all know this. I'm not scared of him ruining Buzelis. So then I'm looking at preseason, right? And he goes for 19-8 in game 1 in 18 minutes. He goes for 11, a block and a steal, and 2 threes in game 2. Ho hum. Then the game 3, he goes for 19-4, 2 threes. And then it happened, dude. Tuesday, October 14th, he went for 20, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 5 blocks, 3 threes, 7 of 12 shooting, 30 minutes, a close game. And then he went for 19 with 2 blocks and a steal and 2 threes in his final game. I mean, that's a heck of a preseason run. And at that point, when Kamla came on and said, did you see Buzelis got 5 blocks last night with 20 points and 3 threes? And I was like, that's it. I don't care what happens from now forward. I'm drafting him in every single league. And I did. I have him, Giddey, Amen, like over and over and over again.
Except for one league.
2 leagues. I don't have Buzelis in 2 leagues. I didn't get him in 30.
And from a dynasty perspective, I don't think there's. I think like it's going to be hard to get Buzelis. Like people are not getting rid of Buzelis, but like there's still more here. There's more gear here. This guy, I think he will develop into being a complete player in a couple years, where he has guard-like skills and has enough shooting potential to really start to take on a number 1 scoring role with a team. And in addition to the athleticism, he will put on weight. His rebounding will improve. He will become just one of those top players in the league. And so if you're out there and you got Buzelis just hanging around some sort of a trade offer, and it's being sort of presented as his current value, and that there's maybe like not additional gears for him to be a number 1 type of a guy, just jump into that, make it happen. It's going to be good for you. Any other fantasy thoughts as we kind of move out of draft season into the regular season before we sign off?
Well, you know, today's officially the first day of the season. So it means that me and my buddy Keelan and my buddy Richard and my buddy Jeff are all playing a $2 FanDuel battle. So we were all in for $2. We do it every day of the season. My team, as it stands right this second, but I'm not done. I'm still tweaking it. We got Luka, Pajemski, Amen, Austin Reeves, yet to be named, Jabari Smith, Kevin Durant, and Al Horford. I'm thinking about going with Bronny James and then just taking an L at that point guard spot, because I originally had Reed Shepherd in there, and I don't know if I like Reed Shepherd in this game. I like Reed Shepherd this year. I'd like having him on my fantasy teams, but I don't know if this is the right night to have Reed Shepherd. Do you think we could see a Reed Shepherd explosion tonight, or are you fading Reed Shepherd?
He has this capability of doing that. So I don't want to just sit here and just rule it out, but I think it all sets up poorly for him. Like there's no rhythm, there's no flow. Like I think once he gets into the rhythm and flow of whatever a Reed Shepherd team looks like, you're going to start to see a completely different Reed Shepherd than what we see right now. He's kind of just a guy that stands and shoots and handles, but one dribble, two dribble, get rid of it and let Amin and let Şengün do their thing. Well, I think once they can kind of get him into a pick and roll system and out of the Kevin Durant, Alperen Şengün universe of stuff and get that flow going on throughout the course of the year. And that might be the reason that they're doing it this way. You've got a team that's got athletes in Oklahoma City. You might just throw out your best athletic combo because offensively you're going to have a lot of KD stuff and a lot of Şengün stuff, and that doesn't really mix well in game one. That is with Shepherd coming off of a bunch of screens and trying to orchestrate offense. I don't think they've worked on it enough, frankly. I think that this is going to be something that they find throughout November and December and January, and I think you'll see peak Reed Shepherd by January at the latest, if not sooner. But not tonight. I don't think Reed Shepherd should. I would go with the Bronny James. What you got?
I'm just saying, if you've never played FanDuel before, get on there, put $20 in, hit up your friends. You can set up a private game. So it's just you against your two buddies and for bragging rights and $2 and or you can play for a ton of money. I don't care, but it's super fun. It's as fun as a fantasy draft, and you get to do it every day. Like that's why we do it. We get to draft a new team every day.
And I can't say enough for our current subscribers. First of all, thank you for supporting us. What we're trying to do in this industry is have actual real money that gets distributed throughout the ranks for this great industry to continue to grow and thrive. And what the premium membership does is it gets you access to these projections, which Vegas, I mean, if you guys just use these projections and have fun with the over-unders out there and start to compile some pretty impressive records. In fact, somebody send me your record or try to keep track of it somehow. And, I would just want to know how you're doing. When I finally get the time to do it, I want to go huge in this area because I don't think Vegas can keep up. Like just flat out, like they've got inside information and they've got, great, smart people that are working this stuff. But I'm sorry, I see too many lines that just do not make any sense. And I know other professionals out there are crushing these numbers and these projections are just sitting there. We've got tools for season-long fantasy, which when you combine them with those projections, you should be able to take advantage of folks in trades. You should be able to set your lineups the right way. You should be able to get the right matchups, in your head-to-head matchups and really exploit positionality and things like that. So get on over, check out the tools, get the free app, by the way. And by the way, we also have a whole bunch of crazy cool stuff that's coming out in the next few days here. I cannot wait to tell you all about that here on future shows. And again, this show Monday through Friday, right around this time, and the Saturday show the week ahead. Keep an eye out for that. We're going to be doing box score breakdown at the ends of nights. So you're going to get all the fantasy coverage that you could ever want. You'll get that all for free. The app is for free. If you want to take it to the next level and get access to the best stats and the best articles, we got a brand new revamped pregame article that I can't wait for you guys to see. And the guys that are doing this content are quite literally the best in the industry. We got guys that win the best industry league there is out there multiple years in a row. And Mike Passador, Keston Paul is like one of the most dangerous fantasy analysts I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen almost all of us. We've got Mark Camaro on the Dynasty beat. Tim Woodson's going to be doing a lot of stuff with us. The list kind of goes on. And I'm just excited to see that level of talent just sort of released into the ecosystem. And if you get a membership, you get it all. So thank you guys for your support. That's going to do it for this show, presented by some company named.
Brought to you by FanDuel.
Thank you guys for listening. I can't wait to have another huge season with you guys, and we will see you guys tomorrow.